Good morning, everybody. Pete Dahlgren here, building the Mirror Smiles F86. I've got just about almost everything completely sheeted on the forward half and the back half of the F86 now. Now, the one thing I'm going to explain to everybody right now is why I'm doing what I'm doing here. Now, you'll notice I sheeted over where the landing gear wells are, and the reason I did that is because now that I've done that, we're going to be doing some interior framing, and we're going to build a couple inserts for a lot of other little things. But in order to do that, what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to get this all done in bodywork, get it glassed, then we'll be putting on some release on this, and we will be laying up some fiberglass for the gear doors. I'm going to kind of rob Bob Morris thunder here just a little bit, because a lot of what I've learned is kind of a mixture from him and other people and then my own configuration. But if you really want to know how to lay up these landing gear doors and all that stuff, he has some really, really good videos on this. And he can actually show you, he's actually the go-to guy. If you're going to look on anything with composite, the guys are just a freaking amazing master of everything, and really super nice guy to talk to as well. I get a kick out of him. He's a good friend of mine, and it's one of those deals where we're just builders. And again, we're going to come out here and I'm going to explain a little bit more about this. Now, guys, this forward piece on this nacelle right here, you need to go in a diagonal on that. You don't want to go straight because it'll just break and it won't form around this edge very well if you go and you put it as a straight piece. And this is something I learned building Corsairs. Now, you want to be really, hi, good morning. And what you really want to be doing here is building the strength in. If you put in a diagonal piece, if you ever build a top like Corsair, it's about the only way you can do that curve on the gull wing on this is to do a diagonal piece. This is why I tell you guys, build a few of those before you try to build something like this. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm doing on the nose, because it's absolutely important that be built and built as strong as you possibly can get it. So what I've done is I completely sheeted everything out. And yes, I did laminate. I love laminating hard and soft balsa wood to make all these nose parts and everything else that's going in here. I left this side open, and then I just closed this one up. You're going to notice this is all pin marks, by the way. That's not gaps. These are all done. Once it's all done, it's sanded off, it'll be like this. There'll be no gap in it. And then another thing that I want to tell you guys is that when you do it, you need to shoot down and look at all of your work. You'll notice there's a lot of high and low spots in there, and then this and that, but there's a lot of things that go into play on that. Now, you'll notice these are all between quarter, half, and 1 inch on the planking that goes around, and this is actually a lot stronger to plank it. Now, if you can get away with putting a full sheet like I did from here to here, it's fine. But you want to make sure you put something in the back to glue it to, just double it up. Not too terribly worried about it right here, because this is all going to get cut out anyways for the landing gear doors. And I'm mainly doing this so I can mold and make the fiberglass nose piece that's going to go in here. Now, I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to put lights in here or not. I can do it. And if we do it, we're going to have to make it. And again, there's another guy that you want to look at that does this kind of stuff, and that's Peter Goldsmith. Yeah, and he has shown a lot of these little things and this and that. And then there's also DreamWorks that has really good kits, as well as iFly Achilles and everybody else. Now, once I get this done, I will glass this fuselage. And I do it a little bit differently than maybe Bodmore would, but I found a method that I am very comfortable with, and I love the results of it. And how I'm going to do this is after this is done, I will go back and I will fill everything using the hardened Bondo or the catalyzed Bondo. It is actually it's a spot putty. And what I do is I use it to fill everything first. I love to fill mine first because then I don't have any high, gigantic, monstrous speed bumps or any nasty surprises. And then it's just a done deal. I can get the epoxy to go in where it needs to be. Now, Bodmore does the same thing, and when he does build these, but Bob builds composite airplanes. And I'm going to steal his thunder again because I'm going to tell you guys again right now, 1 ounce cloth, all we're using on this. And it's a non-starch cloth. And the reason I'm using it is because it is not structural. This is a wood structure. It's all it's ever going to be is a wood structure. This can't be made any stronger than it already is. So if you're going to go in there and put a big old thing for fiberglass on this thing, you built your airplane wrong if you're relying on it for strength. You have to make sure that this has been completely done and built. All of these grains that you're seeing in the side, okay, there's a seam right here. Now, I want you guys to remember one thing. You can see this seam, okay? That fiberglass cloth and that resin is going to penetrate this wood, and it's going to keep this from drying out and splitting apart. All that glass does is keep that from doing that. It's not for strength. So if you've over sanded your fuselage, it's bad. And you don't want to be over sanding your fiberglass. Okay, so I use 3 coats of resin. Okay, the first one is to get it wet and get it to penetrate. Now the first Z I'll ever use, and I will thin it down with denatured alcohol. Now, before everybody starts freaking out, let me explain why I do that. If you get it the consistency of water, it will completely soak into this balsa and it'll make it hard as a rock. And I'm serious, it really does it. You can put 3 coats of resin on there. One is to fill the weave. The second one gets it wetted out and gets it penetrated in here. It also slows the process of its cure time down tremendously. And you got about a half an hour once it's done, but it might take it a couple hours for it to kick. It will, but it takes a long time, and it makes it get in there. But you need to do one thing when you're doing my method of it. You need to make absolutely sure that you've gotten every bit of the inside of this airplane back glued, and you got it, glued, because when it gets wet, guess what? It moves. It starts moving around and all that. And that's another reason why I like to wet form my panels, and that's how come they're all nice and pretty like that. And we haven't even done a complete or full sanding on this yet. So I do like to do it that way. It penetrates. However, on the last coat, I don't thin it at all. I just put it on. You just want to fingers or radle, little stringies on it, and that's not where you want. And don't get too overly crazy. We're going to add probably the weight on this should not be no more than what as far as the glassing, it should not be any more than, say, it being covered in monocoat, and the super monocoat. It's not heavy. It's 1 ounce per yard, and this probably will take, with the resin weight and all that, it does not take a lot of resin, guys. It really does not. And so I want you guys to remember that when you're getting ready to do all these things, that you're going to go down and get a couple mixing cups. One thing else too, make sure you're as precise as you can get on the mix. It does float on top of each other. One thing I've noticed is about Z epoxy is that if you put, like, say, a half ounce on it and you put a half ounce on top of it, it's it will float on each other, on top of each other. And one thing I want you guys to remember: don't, if you're gonna favor anything on the mix of this, you favor the resin. Don't do it with the hardener. If you put too much hardener in, you just lost all its properties and it's done. And it just doesn't work well. So anyway, I'm gonna get in here and start getting that other part planked out and done. I'm gonna start getting this thing ready to body work, and hopefully we can get that and actually this and some glass, because it's just about ready. This I'm gonna leave open for now, but I am gonna do all the tail planes and things ready to go. So we're gonna try to get all these things done, and then we got wings and all this other shit to do, and we got the top of the canopy thing needs to be done, and we need the hatch done, and we need to start getting all that, and then it becomes a part of actually getting everything refit again, because it's just the way it is. Now when I do this, guys, I am gonna glass this all the way over this edge, I hope, and give this just a little bit more of an edge in there, so that I don't want this seam to be seen when it's ready. So there's a lot going on here, and I will go back in here and start back gluing everything and making sure everything's done. And then I might even do the glassing live. Well, I'll show you the way I do it and this and that, and we'll just kind of play it by ear, I guess. We're getting closer. And then it won't be long. Then once we get all these other parts done, I will make these certain parts so I can cut all these other parts out for gear doors and this and that. And it's going to be quite the deal. Hopefully I'll get my landing gear here very soon, and then we can start doing the little parts. But I am going to show you how I do the layout on the panel lines and everything else on there, because we're going to be doing a lot of details on this. And yeah, we're getting closer. It's actually to the part where you're coming to the end of this big build after taking a break, and you're going, wow, this thing's looking pretty damn cool. So this is the time where you kind of go and you look at things, you go, well, geez, now what? But the nice thing about using Gorilla Glue too, guys, is it dries clear, so you know when it is drying. It's pretty neat. Also, if you get any dents and stuff from moving the thing around, then is there. Now, one thing that I will recommend, and I am going to get 2 of them from here on out, you need to get a couple Robart stands for these things or something, or make one out of high density foam or something, but you need something that's going to be able to hold the airplane steady and wherever it's going to be, so you can do the details, because you need to be absolutely comfortable with that. Not so much with the glassing and the body work, but when it comes to start doing the details, when you start putting the guns in it and all the other things that make it look cool, then you need to really consider a lot of the time involved in that. So anyways, guys, this is about it for today, and I'll shoot another video probably here in the next day or two after I get the deal. I'll send some pictures of it, of the final bodywork done, and this thing should start looking like a great big airplane instead of a reconstituting tree trunk, because that's what everybody is. And no, that is not a traffic cone, I'm sorry. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the funny papers.